Stilxits is a military attaché from the Honorable Kexudin Royal Guard, holding a rank equivalent to OF2, Lieutenant Commander. He has been deployed among humans as a military attaché in the Allied Rapid Reaction Army, United Nations, and continues to serve with honor. As I write this, I find myself in the backlines after a devastating encounter with the enemy. I feel compelled to express my frustrations regarding the chaotic nature of war as conducted by humans. They seem to thrive on disorder, with many appearing to lack a clear understanding of proper military maneuvers, at least when compared to the precise and disciplined operations of my esteemed guards. Only the sergeants, or as we would call them, the valets, demonstrate any real understanding of unit maneuvers. To illustrate this, let me explain how their chain of command operates and how it impacts battlefield efficiency. The chain of command in human warfare. In any structured military force, maneuvers must follow a clear chain of command. In human armies, this structure appears as follows. Generals, kings, their primary role is to interpret the directives of political leaders, determining overarching war objectives and assessing how best to achieve them with available forces. However, rather than issuing direct battlefield maneuvers, they relay broad objectives to their colonels. Colonels, lords. These officers receive the general's objectives, assess intelligence reports, and formulate strategic directives. They then pass refined objectives down to captains. Captains, equivalents. Captains receive multiple side objectives from their colonels. Their task is to assign forces to specific locations while ensuring the mission's overall success. However, rather than executing plans directly, they further delegate to their sergeants. Sergeants, valets. Sergeants receive their orders alongside, hopefully, the most recent intelligence and detailed battlefield maps. They are responsible for maneuvering their small units, often as few as 10 men, to execute the mission on the ground. If they fall in battle, a lower rank takes their place. The sheer degree of delegation in this process is staggering. Orders are repeatedly fragmented, objectives are constantly subdivided, and the final burden of execution rests upon the lowest-ranking officers. It is no wonder that human warfare often appears disorganized and inefficient. Unlike the streamlined efficiency of my own Royal Guard, where orders are clear, and tactics are executed with precise coordination from our king, human warfare is riddled with redundant layers of decision-making. However, despite this perceived inefficiency, their resilience is undeniable. A striking example is one of our recent battles where human forces, despite initial setbacks and logistical challenges, managed to reorganize and repel a major offensive through sheer adaptability, tenacity, and effective small unit leadership. Such cases highlight that while their system may appear chaotic, it grants them a level of flexibility that can be unexpectedly effective in the heat of battle. The passing of the buck, as humans say, creates unnecessary complications, making their approach seem more reactive than strategic. Most astonishingly, these humans rely on sergeants, mere unit leaders, to execute the true maneuvers of battle. A mere 10 men per squad are expected to complete complex tasks, often with minimal oversight from their superiors. To my trained eye, this appears as sheer madness. While humans are undeniably resourceful and adaptable, their military operations lack the discipline and cohesion expected of a well-structured force. However, their effectiveness in battle is not solely derived from rigid organization. It is also deeply influenced by psychological and emotional factors. Their morale, camaraderie, and personal investment in their cause often drive them to fight with remarkable resilience. A human soldier's willingness to endure hardship, push beyond exhaustion, and even sacrifice themselves for their comrades fosters an unpredictable but formidable fighting force. Their ability to rally in the face of adversity, inspired by shared loyalty and purpose, allows them to turn apparent chaos into calculated action, making them all the more difficult to predict and counter. It is both a curiosity and a frustration, one that I continue to analyze as I serve among them. To further illustrate my point, one must observe the human's peculiar instinct when idle on the front lines. They dig. No matter where they are, they will dig. It does not matter if there is a house in their way, they will smash the glass, reinforce the structure with wood or sandbags, and fortify it as best they can. If the terrain is mud, they will not hesitate. Human soldiers bathe in mud, embracing it as part of their defensive measures. They constantly improve their positions as their sergeant determines where they should engage, assesses distances, and even relocates them entirely if he deems their current position unsuitable. Their adaptability is remarkable, albeit chaotic, reinforcing their ability to turn any environment into a defensible stronghold. Perhaps most puzzling of all is how humans approach strategic planning. They do not plan for victory, they plan for failure. Every aspect of their strategy assumes a weak point, an opening that the enemy can and will exploit. This mindset is both pragmatic and pessimistic, ensuring flexibility but also highlighting their lack of confidence in achieving flawless execution. However, history has shown that this very adaptability has led to some of humanity's greatest military successes. For example, during the engagement I was with before writing this, the human forces anticipated failure scenarios, creating contingency plans that allowed them to decisively counter their enemy. Similarly, as the war against the enemy began in earnest, outnumbered and encircled human forces adapted their strategy on the fly, using decentralized command structures and sheer determination to delay and ultimately repel a much larger and better-equipped foe. As I continue to observe and analyze, I remain both frustrated and fascinated by these humans and their unpredictable ways.